trees. We have the Ark of the Covenant, the table of showbread, the altar, the tabernacle. Well, they were built with wood, right? And so they're in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a desert, arid area. Where would the trees come from? Where would the trees come from? So what type of tree did they use? Let's go there first. What type of tree does the Bible say was used for the Ark of the Covenant and the tabernacle? Archaea, right? Yeah, the Bible, King James Version, called it shittim wood. And you can see that here in Exodus chapter 25, verse 10, for instance. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length thereof, a cubit and a half the breadth thereof, so forth. You can see the table of showbread in verse 23 is made out of shittim wood, and so forth. So everything is made out of shittim wood. So another name for shittim wood, the more modern name is Archaea tree. Acacia tree. And so this is an Acacia tree. And so, okay, are Acacia trees then in Saudi Arabia where they were building the tabernacle Ark of the Covenant? What do you think the answer is?
Yes.
Yes. And so, well, this is not going to come out too well, but I was trying to find a map showed all the vegetation for Saudi Arabia. And so you can see this yellow here is wasteland, and I think the brown is more, I don't know if that's a deserty area. But so they would have come in right in this area. So there's some, you can see here some trees, forestry, some foliage up here. Now so what I was reading real quickly, and probably could do a lot more research on it, that the acacia tree is the most abundant tree within Saudi Arabia. And the acacia tree is generally on the western side of Saudi Arabia. Well, that's where Mount Sinai is located. That's where they built the tabernacle and the Ark of the Covenant and so forth. So that's the wood God said to use. That's the wood that was available. There's only 97 species of wood in all the country of Saudi Arabia, and they're only found, and 80% of Saudi Arabia doesn't have just wasteland. So there's only a very small concentrated areas of foliage to begin with. And acacia trees are the abundant vegetation. Does that help with that question?
What is the name of trees that people are using in the cars and?
You mean the palm trees?
It's more used in the Bible that there are one tree that was
well, palm trees are abundant as well.
Palm tree. Big tree. I know there's they're having the most car, and the trees now car. It's like that.
You mean a cedar tree?
Cedar, fir tree?
Cedar?
It looks like a Christmas tree?
Yeah.
On the top? Yeah, it's a big tall tree, but on the top of it's kind of...
They grow on mountaintops.
Lebanon area is where they're found. Further to the north.
Because I know they haven't usually seeing the same tree that's on the western end of the tree.
Right.
Where I know
palm trees are found in the Bible, and palm tree is a symbol of the Hebrews. The palm trees are one of the more stronger trees. You have the big oak tree that spreads out of the roots, but a palm tree can take an impact and still stand up and keep going. So in hurricane-prone areas, what do you see? You see palm trees still standing. You don't see the oaks and so forth.
Because the country is humble. You know, when the wind is kind of high,
yeah,
the country will fall.
Right.
It's like,
So trees. I think we got some sermon illustrations there, don't we? We'll have to do a sermon on trees. What type of tree are you? All right, so Numbers chapter 8 is where we are. Numbers chapter 8, and we started this last week. Remember Numbers chapter 7? Numbers chapter 7 goes back 1 month in time, so we're in the first month of the second year, right? And so we're discussing the tabernacle dedication. Now, Exodus talked about the tabernacle being built and all the details that went along with that. Leviticus talked about the high priest and the priest being consecrated. And we talked about that in Leviticus. Now, in Numbers, we're talking about, well, the participation of the people. And remember, each of the 12 tribes were represented by a leader, and that leader then brought what items for the dedication. This was also made of wood. You're embarrassing, guy. We had six wagons and 12 oxen, right? So they brought that on the day that the tabernacle was erected, and that was the day that the high priest, Aaron and his sons, were consecrated. And then, so then after that, we had 12 days where each of the tribes then brought their offerings. And so we had silver bowls and silver plates and golden spoons, and we had the sin offering, the burnt offering, and the fellowship offering. And so remember, we talked about all those animals that were brought in, and each tribe brought their own offerings in on their particular day. And the order of those were what? In what order do they come in?
The same order that you're traveling.
That's right. The same order that they were told in the encampment, the same order that they'll be traveling behind the Ark of the Covenant. And so that's where we left off with Numbers chapter 7. So Numbers chapter 3, Numbers chapter 8, we have here God instructs that the candlestick be lit. And so we saw that in Numbers chapter 8, verses 1 through 4. And so here I have an example of our candlestick for you. And then, so now we're going to start off in verse 5. Numbers chapter 8, verse 5. The consecration of the Levites. Consecration of the Levites, number 4. Consecration of the Levites. So remember, we talked about the consecration of the high priest. We talked about the consecration of the priest. We talked about the dedication by the people. And the last group of people we haven't talked about are all the rest of the Levites. And so here they come into play. Numbers chapter 8, verse 5, And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the Levites from among the children of Israel, and cleanse them. And thus shalt thou do unto them to cleanse them. Sprinkle water of purifying upon them, and let them shave all their flesh, and let them wash their clothes, and so make themselves clean. And so now we have a consecration ceremony of the Levites. So A, cleansing of the Levites. Cleansing of the Levites. First they have to wash themselves, be clean. And so what was the first thing they had to do?
Sprinkle with water.
Sprinkle water, purifying them. Sprinkle water, purifying them. Shave their flesh. Yeah, let's dwell on number 1. Is that an unusual thing? Here I'm going to sprinkle you with some water. Right? Don't we always preach against sprinkling, baptismal, sprinkling by baptism by sprinkling? There we go. Right? Don't we preach against that? It's a total immersion, right? And when Aaron and the priests, Aaron and his sons, they were totally immersed. But here for the Levites, there's sprinkling going on. And so this is what Numbers is talking about. Sprinkling.
Maybe they don't like it before.
Okay.
I don't know a whole lot in the desert.
Right. So sprinkle water of purifying on them. There is so much more in that one little phrase. It does not hear some sprinkle water and come on through. Okay. And so this is what we believe talks about. So this portion of the ceremony did not simply deal with the sprinkling of water on the Levites, but was part of a more elaborate ceremony known as the law of purification, which uses the lashes of the red heifer. Does anybody hear about the red heifer sacrifice? It's a very rare sacrifice that was done. If I recall, it's only been recorded to be done 10 times in its history, something of that nature. So it's something that's very rare. And so we believe this is what is actually going on because it's a part of the law of purification. And so you can find that law, this purification ritual, is found in Numbers chapter 19. So I'm sure when we get to Numbers 19, we'll dwell a lot more on the particulars. But here we can quickly see this in we'll start in verse 17. For any unclean person, Numbers chapter 19, verse 17. And you can see the process that they have to go through. And for an unclean person, they shall take of the ashes of the burnt heifer of the purification for sin, and running water shall be put thereto in a vessel. And a clean person shall take hyssop, and dip it in the water, and sprinkle it upon the tent, and upon all the vessels, and upon the persons that were there, and upon him that toucheth a bone, or one slain, or one dead, or grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the 3rd day, And on the seventh day shall he purify himself and wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean at evening. But the man that shall be unclean shall not purify himself. That soul shall be cut off from among the congregation, because he hath defiled the sanctuary of the law. The water of separation hath not been sprinkled upon him, he is unclean. And it shall be a perpetual statute unto them, that he that sprinkleth the water of separation shall wash his clothes, and he that touches the water of separation shall be unclean until evening. So this sprinkling is a part of this other process here, where there's the red heifer sacrifice. And so the red heifer will be brought in, and it will be taken out as the sin offering. It will be sacrificed outside of the tabernacle, outside of the temple. Right? And so that's where it's sacrificed. And it's done by the priest looking into the temple, looking east, looking westward into the gates. And so the high priest is standing in the tabernacle looking out when the priest is out there and sacrifices the red heifer out there. And there's a whole process for the one who sacrifices the red heifer, and they get him clean. But what happens is that the red heifer is burnt outside of the tabernacle, outside of the city. And so that's where it's burnt, and they collect all its ashes. And so the ashes are contained, and when somebody was unclean in the situation, they would then mix it with water and then sprinkle them with hyssop, use hyssop to sprinkle them with. And so that's the law of purification. Again, a whole bunch more details we'll have to get to when we get to Numbers 19. But we believe this is what the Levites were going through. They weren't just sprinkled with water. There was a whole red heifer sacrifice that occurred. The ashes were burnt. The red heifer was burnt down to ashes, and that was mixed in the water, and you have hyssop involved. So forth. It's a beautiful picture of what Christ did for us. And now he was sacrificed outside the city, right? Looking in toward the temple. And so that's the red heifer sacrifice. A very, very rare. It's very rarely talked about, except here like in Numbers 19. And again, like I said, there's only a few instances where the actual sacrifice has been recorded. And of course, right now I guess they breeded some red heifers and getting ready for the new temple. Questions on that? I got a whole bunch myself, but does anybody have any questions?
Does it say what was special about the red heifer, or we don't know? Why they use that one in particular?
Because the Lord commanded it.
I didn't know if there was a reason that it didn't explain it.
It's a rare cow. But yeah, the Lord commanded. This was the process he used. But again, yeah, we'll get into this. I'll do more research when we get there in Numbers 19. All right, so they get sprinkled with the water, the red ashes of the red heifer. And then number 2, they shave their hair. So the word shave here seems to have the context of trimming than bald shaving. So it doesn't necessarily seem to be that they were going in with a bald head, but that they went in, all trimmed up and professional looking. Huh?
Shave their hair or
Shave their hair. Shave their hair. And number 3, wash their clothes. Wash their clothes. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 13 references the red heifer. Hebrews 9, verse 13, for if the blood of bulls and of goats and the ashes of a red heifer sprinkling the unclean is sanctified to the purifying of flesh, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? How much more does the blood of Christ do that for you than all these sacrifices that God commanded? Here in Leviticus and Numbers. Jesus is our sacrifice. Jesus is our Passover lamb. Jesus is our red heifer sacrifice. All right, we got questions there on what they had to do. B is offering. So now that they're clean, now they can give their offerings, right? We see that in verse 8. Then let them take a young bullock with his meat offering, even fine flour mingled with oil, and another young bullock shalt thou take for a sin offering. And thou shalt bring the Levites before the tabernacle of the congregation, and thou shalt gather the whole assembly of the children of Israel together. And thou shalt bring the Levites before the Lord, and the children of Israel shall put their hands upon the Levites. And Aaron shall offer the Levites before the Lord for an offering of the children of Israel, that they may execute the service of the Lord. And the Levites shall lay their hands upon the heads of the bullocks, and thou shalt offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering unto the Lord, to make an atonement for the Levites. And thou shalt set the Levites before Aaron, before his sons, and offer them for an offering unto the Lord. Thus shalt thou separate the Levites from among the children of Israel, and Levites shall be mine. And after that shall the Levites go in to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt cleanse them, and offer them for an offering. And they are wholly given unto me from among the children of Israel. Instead of such as one, and such as open every womb, even instead of the firstborn of all the children of Israel, have I taken them unto me. For all the firstborn of the children of Israel are mine, both man and beast. On the day that I smote every firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified them for myself. They have taken the Levites for all the firstborn of the children of Israel. They have given the Levites as a gift to Aaron and to his sons from among the children of Israel, to do the service of the children of Israel in the tabernacle of the congregation, and to make an atonement for the children of Israel, that there be no plague among the children of Israel, when the children of Israel come nigh unto the sanctuary. So what do they bring first?
Bull for meat offering.
A bull for, well, yeah, the first thing that's going to be offered is a bull for a sin offering. I need to go back one moment. Here's some references to the, some graphics for the red heifer sacrifice. And this is one thing that interests me. You have the temple in Jerusalem, and then you have the Kidron Valley, right? And there was a bridge called the Red Heifer Bridge. The one that's believed to have existed, that went right from the eastern gate all the way to where they sacrificed the red heifer and the sin offering, for that matter. The red heifer is a sin offering. The sin offering is sacrificed outside the city. And so that's a reference there. All right, so we have the offerings, the sin offering. I guess I should have had a picture of a bull. The bull would have been a more appropriate picture. But we have a bull for a sin offering. Is the bull an appropriate animal for a priest? Okay, if you look to our little chart here, remember the sin offering, the type of offering you give is based on your position in life. And so a bull is for the priest or the nation. And so we have the bulls here. So we have a bull for a sin offering. And then we have a bull for a burnt offering. And along with the burnt offering, of course, is the meat offering.
So number one is bull?
Bull, well, number one is sin offering.
Bull sin offering.
Sin offering. And then burnt offering. Remember, the sin offering is required. You can't come before Christ. You can't come before God until you take care of your sin. And so, sin offering is first. The burnt offering is a free will offering to God. And so, next came the burnt offering. What happened on the third step? Yeah, isn't this interesting? So, the Levites, the whole tribe of Levites, all the male Levites, I guess, for service, so that in ages 25, let's see, from 25 to 30, or 25 to 50, they're all standing in front of the tabernacle entrance, and so all the rest of the tribes are coming around, and now they're putting their hands on them. We have a huge laying on hands ceremony to dedicate them for service. So a lot of people, yeah, that would have been very interesting to see. So the congregation of Israel shall put their hands on the Levites. So they're laying their hands on the Levites. The laying of hands on the Levites was a sign that the community was investing them with authority to represent them in the work of the Lord. They're giving them their authority. You are now going to represent us in the work of the Lord. And then we do that with our deacons and our elders. We have a more elaborate ceremony for the pastor, but for our deacons and elders, you lay hands on them, and here you are going to be for service. And so you have to that you're in Scripture. Number 4. So Aaron offers the Levites as an offering for the people of Israel. Well, that's kind of strange, right? Now the Levites are the offering. So here we're vesting. You're now going to serve. You're now giving authority of service before the Lord. Aaron now offers the Levites to the Lord.
Living,
Uh-huh.
living sacrifice.
Living sacrifice. That's right. Absolutely right. So remember that the Levites are the substitution for the firstborn. The firstborn was the Lord's, but now because they were redeemed from death during the 10th plague when they were back in Egypt. So remember, the Lord had claimed the firstborn as his, but now the Levites have redeemed them, and now the Levites are the Lord's. And now Aaron is offering the Levites to God. All right? All right, so number 5, the Levites laid their hands on the bulls, so transferring to them their own sense of guilt and commitment. So the bulls have not been sacrificed yet. Now they've transferred their sins onto the bulls, onto the bull for the sin offering. And so now the Levites become a living sacrifice to God. So then what happens? What does God do?
He gives the Levites as a gift to Aaron and his sons.
Right, that's right. God gives the Levites back to Aaron to help Aaron and his sons to help serve the tabernacle. That's quite fascinating, isn't it? Quite fascinating.
Samuel.
Right, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like Hannah gave Samuel, and then Samuel then given back to Hannah, and then Hannah gives it back for the service of the Lord, or Moses for that matter, and given to service. Give it over to God, and then God gives it back for his purpose. And so Levites are the Lord's. And so now the Levites are concentrated. We go to the commandment. Consecration. They're consecrated. There's the word. All right, verse 20. And Moses and Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Israel did to the Levites according to all the Lord commanded Moses concerning the Levites. So did the children of Israel unto them. And the Levites were purified, and they washed their clothes, and Aaron offered them as an offering before the Lord. And Aaron made an atonement for them to cleanse them. And after that, when the Levites in to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation before Aaron, before his sons, that the Lord had commanded Moses concerning the Levites. So they unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This is it that belongeth unto the Levites. For 25 years old and upward they shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And from the age of 50 years they shall cease waiting upon the service thereof, and shall serve no more, but shall minister with their brethren in the tabernacle of the congregation, to keep them charged, and shall do no service. Thus shalt thou do unto the Levites, touching their charge. So they go through the whole process. Here we have God gives a command of what to do. We find that they did it. And now what happens next? They've been consecrated for service. What happens next? They start serving, right? They start serving. So, those who go to college and get their degree, what do you need to do after you get out of college? Got a job, start working. So we have here, number 1, the Levites started their service. Or what were the ages for the Levites to serve?
25 to 50.
25 to 50. 25 years old to 50 years old. Does that sound different than what we've talked about before?
Yeah.
Why? Well, what happened before? What was the ages before?
They had to be 30.
30-year-olds. And where is that found? Does anybody know?
Numbers.
Oh, wow, okay, good. Numbers 4:3 says, For 30 years old and upward, even up to 50 years old, all that enter into the host to do the work in the tabernacle of the congregation. Okay, we have one verse here saying 30 years old is the start date. And then this other verse we're just now talking about says 25. What's going on?
Different type of service.
Different type of service, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It seems that at 30 years of age, a Levite entered into the service of bearing and carrying burdens. Remember, all that discussion was talking about those who will be carrying the holy objects, those will be with the oxen and the wagons and carrying all the materials for the tabernacle, probably even assisting in setting everything up. And so that starts at age 30. But at age 25 years of age, he entered into the service of the tent or the tabernacle, where he was employed in lighter service, less burden service, such as opening and shutting the doors of the sanctuary, keeping out strangers and unclean persons, and singing the songs of the sanctuary, but was not concerned who was 30 years of age in carrying the vessels of the sanctuary on the shoulders, or taking down and setting up the tabernacle, or loading and unloading wagons. So it seems here there was an apprentice program. We're going to get you trained, get you acclimated to tabernacle service before you're fully engrossed in it, and here's 5 years for you to be an apprentice. So it seems like that was the case.
You would think the younger ones would do the carrying.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They probably
We had the lighter one.
experience more than muscle though.
That's right.
Holy objects.
Yeah.
I didn't call it.
5 years, yeah, 5 years of training, 5 years of realizing how holy this is and how to respect what you need to do, and not coming in cold. So isn't that kind of interesting? The Lord always prepares you for your next step. Whether you realize it or not, God has prepared you for your next stage in life, and He's preparing you now. So here we have what God did for the Levites as well. You're at age 25, you're going to start doing this. At age 30, you get to move on to a higher responsibility. All right, so that's Numbers chapter 8. Numbers chapter 8. So we're talking about the consecration of Levites. We talked about the lighting of the candlestick. We talked about them starting their work. And so we're going to move into Numbers chapter 9. Numbers chapter 9. Does anybody know what Numbers chapter 9 is about? Passover. Passover. Now, if you think about this, Passover occurs when? What?
Beginning of the Jewish New Year.
No, not the beginning of the Jewish year.
It's the anniversary of ever the
Okay, the 15th day of Nisan, right? Nisan 1 is the beginning of the Jewish religious calendar, and then 15 days into it. So, if you want to look at astronomy, the Jewish calendar is based on the lunar calendar, and so the beginning of the new month is a new moon. And so halfway into the month, of course, is a full moon. So Passover will always occur on a full moon because that's the way the Jewish calendar is written. It's set up. It's a lunar calendar. So if you want to go back to when the Last Supper was, there was a full moon on that day. Just every Passover is a full moon because that's the way it's set up. So anyway, the 15th day. So we just talked about the tabernacle was erected on the first day, right? Nisan 1, right? And then we have Judah gave their offerings. We have the consecration of Aaron and the priests. And then we have the next 11 days is all the tribes give their offerings, right? Right. So that's on day 12. And so on day 13, probably now we have the consecration of the priests. And now day 14, well, they're getting ready for Passover. And so this is the first Passover outside of Egypt, right? Well, the first Passover, of course, was the 10th plague when the Passover angel came through, right? So now this is the first Passover where they're really doing it for real. Is that a good term? They're doing it outside of Egypt. And so here we have the first Passover outside of Egypt. So Numbers chapter 9, starting verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the first month of the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt. Okay, Numbers 9 is just telling us that we're still a month prior to where Numbers chapter 1 started. So in the first month of the second year after they came out of the land of Egypt, we're approaching the first year anniversary of them leaving Egypt, which would be Passover, right? The day after Passover, or Passover itself. Verse 2, let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at its appointed season. God's reminding them, hey guys, Passover's coming up. You got to make sure you keep it. As a reminder, the calendar's quickly approaching. Passover's coming. Verse 3, in the 14th day of this month at evening, you shall keep it in its appointed season according to all the rites of it, according to all the ceremonies thereof shall ye keep it. So it says here in the 14th day, but I keep saying the 15th day. Why is that? Remember, a Jewish day starts at sundown. So it says here the 14th day in the evening. So that's actually the start of the 15th day. Okay? So if you're familiar with the Last Supper, there's a whole bunch of things that occur to get ready. They had to get the room. We believe that was from John Mark. Jesus had sent Peter and John to take care of the lamb, and the lamb had to be roasted. It had to be sacrificed and then brought back and roasted. The table had to be all set, and that's all set for sundown. So then they start, we call it a Seder down, but they call it, the Passover meal occurs then. And so then that's where we get the Last Supper. And so that occurs in the evening of the 14th, which is the start of the 15th. So here, and the instructions for Passover are technically given back in Exodus chapter 12. So you can read verses 1 through 20 if you want to remind yourself of what occurred.
So E is Passover?
E is Passover, yes. E is Passover. So Numbers Exodus chapter 12, verse 1 through 20 gives you the instructions for Passover, the actual instructions to put the blood on the doorpost for that particular moment, for the first Passover, for to protect the firstborn. And then Passover itself is a part of a larger holiday. Does anybody know what that is?
Rosh Hashanah.
No. The Feast of Unleavened Bread. The Feast of Unleavened Bread lasts 7 days. The Feast of Unleavened Bread lasts 7 days. Now, you mentioned Easter. There's the Festival of First Fruits, which always occurs on the Sunday after Passover, which is the Festival of First Fruits, which is Easter. So Easter is always on a Sunday, because that's what God commanded here as the Festival of First Fruits. That's when Jesus rose again, Resurrection Sunday. And so that occurs within the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So Passover is a day that shifts back and forth through the week, right? But the Feast of Unleavened Bread will always occur on the Sunday after that, after Passover occurs. Does that make sense? Doesn't make sense. Thanksgiving will always.
I had it.
Thanksgiving will always be on a Thursday. Christmas can fall any day of the week. Your birthday falls on any day of the week. But Thanksgiving has always been set the last Thursday of the month.
Is it actually or 3 years old?
What's the question? Or statement?
Yeah, because I think like 3 or 4 years ago, it wasn't the last Thursday of the month.
Or the third Thursday of the month? Somebody help me here.
Yeah,
First
it
Thursday.
was a Thursday, but it wasn't the last.
All right, Leviticus chapter 23 also talks about Passover. So Leviticus chapter 23, verse 4. These are the feasts of the Lord, even holy convocations, which you shall proclaim in their seasons. And the 14th day of the first month at the evening is the Lord's Passover. On the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. And the first day you shall have the holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. So Passover is a day of well, it's a different day of rest. It's not a Sabbath day. It's a Sabbath day where you can enjoy fellowship and do all the things that are necessary to get a holiday put together, right? And so that's Passover. So on the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein, but you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord 7 days, and the 7th day is a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. So 7 days later is another holiday where they take rest. And so that encompasses the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Verse 9, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. And ye shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. And you shall offer that day, when you wave the sheaf and he lamb without blemish on the first year of the burnt offering unto the Lord. So you saw that here in verse 11, it says, on the morrow after the Sabbath. So the day after the Sabbath, the day after Saturday, which is Sunday, that's when this is going to occur. So it's always on Sunday, this feast of first fruits. Verse 12, and you shall offer that day when you weigh the sheep and he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto the Lord. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2 tenths deal of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Lord for a sweet savor, and the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, 4th part of a hin. Ye shall eat neither bread nor parched corn nor green ears until the selfsame day that ye have brought an offering unto your God. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. And this is, of course, a side note. But remember when Mary Magdalene came and wanted to touch Jesus? And Jesus said, no, don't touch me yet. I haven't been to my Father. This is what this is talking about. Jesus had not offered himself as the offering for us to God yet, to the Heavenly Father yet. So that's why he couldn't be touched, because he wanted to be unclean. And so here we have the barley is brought in, the first fruits are brought in and laid before the Lord. Only then, after that could occur, then could they buy and sell and eat. Right? And so the same way with Jesus, the only way we could then participate in his sacrifices when he was offered before the Lord, offered before God, and God accepted it as a worthy sacrifice for us. So that's all a side note here. All right, so we have here, starting in verse 4. So Numbers 9 is more or less reminding them, hey, Passover's coming up. It's the appointed season, participate in Passover. But we have here in verse 4 an interesting situation. And Moses spake unto the children of Israel that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at evening in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all the Lord commanded Moses. So did the children of Israel. So here we have, they participated in Passover. They went through that glorious day of celebration, their 1-year anniversary from being out of Egypt, and from celebrating God's mercy on them. But this is the only recorded celebration of Passover while the children of Israel were in the wilderness. So we don't have any other recordings of them participating in Passover until we cross over the River Jordan in the Promised Land in the book of Joshua.
So it's the first.
So number 1 is second Passover celebrated. Second Passover celebrated. And number 2, we have a conflict. We have a conflict. Verse 6. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and before Aaron on that day. And those men said unto him, we are defiled by the dead body of a man. Wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of the Lord in his appointed season among the children of Israel. Hey, we're getting ready for Passover, and my brother died in my arms. I can't celebrate. I can't go to the tabernacle and take my offering for Passover because I'm unclean. But God says, God commanded me that I have to go to Passover. I have to give my offering for Passover. Moses, what am I supposed to do? I'm unclean, and I'm there violating Passover. But if I go celebrate Passover, I'm violating the rule of the law of being unclean. Moses, what am I supposed to do? So here we have they were restricted from participating in Passover touching a dead body. Restricted from participating in Passover due to touching a dead body. So what does Moses do?
Yes, some instructions.
That's right. Moses asked God for wisdom. Moses asked God for wisdom. Verse 8, and Moses said unto them, stand still, and I will hear what the Lord will command concerning you. This is interesting. What do I do, Lord? Lord, I need wisdom on this. And I thank you for Matthew for every day, every week, praying for wisdom. That's what the Bible commands us to do, right? It's the only way we can seek wisdom is through God himself. So Moses didn't go ask others, but God, what am I supposed to do with this? This is I don't know how to handle this. Lord, how do we deal with this? They want to obey you, but they can't because of from this restriction. So James chapter 1 verse 5, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So take James 1:5 as a promise. If you don't know what to do, pray. And even if you know what to do, pray. Pray. Ask God for wisdom. C, God provides an alternative day for those who were unable to participate in Passover. God provides an alternative day for those who are unable to participate in Passover. Verse 9, the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If any man of you or of your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey far off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord. The 14th day of the second month at evening they shall keep it, and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They shall leave none of it unto the morning, nor break any bone of it. According to all the ordinances of the Passover, they shall keep it. So this is known as second Passover. So God gives an alternative day. Okay, you can't, if you're unclean on the day of Passover, the 14th day of the month, right? Then next month, we'll open up next month, and that'll be a second opportunity. Here we have a God of mercy and a God of second chances. You missed the boat on this one. Here's another opportunity. And are we glad that God did not just give you one opportunity to accept Him as His Lord, accept Christ as Lord and Savior, but came to you again with another opportunity and another opportunity? And so I pray all of you have accepted Him as your Lord and Savior. If not, today is another opportunity for you. You can do that today. So here we have second Passover, or in Hebrew it's called Pesach Sheni. Does that help anybody? So it's exactly 1 month later than Passover, 1 month later than Passover. So Moses came to God with a particular situation. Here we have some of our brothers here have touched a dead body and they can't participate. God realizes there's other circumstances that are probably rightfully so that they're going to miss Passover. And what was that other situation?
Traveling.
Traveling. They're not in town. The offering only takes place at the tabernacle or when the temple was built at the temple. And so if you're traveling, you have the opportunity to come back for second Passover and participate then. So if you did not participate in Passover and did not qualify for second Passover, what happens to you? Cut off from the people. Cut off from the people. Verse 13, but the man that is clean and is not in a journey and forbeareth to keep the Passover, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he brought not the offering of the Lord in the appointed season. That man shall bear his sin. What would be a reason that somebody would miss the first Passover? That should have gone.
They had leprosy.
Well, they would have been unclean. They wouldn't have been allowed to go. That would have been a restriction, and so hopefully they would have been clean for the second Passover. But here we have the situation with the man that is clean and is not away, but misses. Why would somebody miss?
They tested their body.
Well, then they would be clean. Would that just be pure laziness? Just laziness? Oh, I have another opportunity. You know, I'll sleep in today. I don't need to face the crowd. There's a lot less crowds on the second Passover than the first Passover. I don't have to wait in line during the second Passover. I'll wait. God gave this other opportunity the second day. I'm going to sit here and wait. There's no need. I mean, that's just a busy day, and I can just stay in bed. Who knows? I know. We all come up with our excuses, right? And here God's pointing out, if there is no legit reason for you not to be there, you better be there. He's not giving an excuse. Here's an open checkbook to do whatever you want. I commanded you to come to Passover. You come to Passover unless you're violating another law. But then here's a second opportunity for those who couldn't make it the first time. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, F. We have here in verse 19, and if a stranger shall sojourn among you, and will keep the Passover unto the Lord according to the ordinance of the Passover, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do. You shall have one ordinance, both for the stranger and for him that was born in the land. All right, you have visiting friends that are non-Jewish. You have some Gentiles, or somebody from far away, whatever. What are they to do? Participate. Join you. If they're of like faith, allow them to participate. You know, we have communion here, and we have, say we have visitors from out of town, and they're going to other churches. Participate. In Ezra chapter 6, verse 20, we have an example of this. Ezra chapter 6, verse 20, and the priests and the Levites were purified together. All of them were pure, and killed the Passover for all the children of the captivity, and for their brethren the priests, and for themselves, and the children of Israel, which were come again out of captivity, and all such as had separated themselves unto them from the filthiness of the heathen land, to seek the Lord God of Israel did eat. So we have here a situation where we have the Hebrews returning from captivity. It looks like there was some, you know, and when the Babylonian Empire took place, they captured and brought in people from all over the place, all across the known world, right? And, you know, here the Hebrews are telling them about their God, and man, I love that. That's a good God. I want to serve that God. And so when they left to go back to Jerusalem, go back to Israel, looks like some of them followed right along with them and says, come, participate with us. You're like faith. You have accepted Jehovah as your God. Join us. And so that's the law here for Passover, that participate. You can participate. Don't. It's not meant to be for only one group of people. Questions on that? Questions on Passover there?
What was that?
F. Oh, a little F here. Strangers could participate in Passover.
Strangers.
Strangers.
What's on the big F?
Big F. That's where we are now.
Okay.
Big F. Accompaniment of the Lord. This seems to be a review. Because we're going to deal with the fire by night and the cloud by day. And so that was a sign of the presence of the cloud. The presence of the cloud was a sign of the Lord's presence. The presence of the cloud.
Of the cloud?
Of the cloud. Numbers chapter 9, verse 15. And on the day that the tabernacle was reared up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, namely the tent of the testimony. And at the evening there was upon the tabernacle, as it were, the appearance of fire until the morning. So it was always, the cloud covered it by day, and the appearance by fire by night. Israel journeyed, and in the place where the cloud abode, there the children of Israel pitched their tents. And at the commandment of the Lord, the children of Israel journeyed, and at the commandment of the Lord they pitched. As long as the cloud abode upon the tabernacle, they rested in their tents. And when the cloud tarried long upon the tabernacle many days, then the children of Israel kept the charge of the Lord and journeyed not. And so it was, when the cloud was a few days upon the tabernacle, according to the commandment of the Lord, they abode in their tents. According to the commandment of the Lord, they journeyed. And so it was, when the cloud abode from even unto when the cloud abode from even unto the morning, and that the cloud was taken up in the morning, then they journeyed. Whether it was by day or by night that the cloud was taken up, they journeyed. Or whether it were 2 days or a month or a year that the cloud tarried upon the tabernacle, remaining thereon, the children of Israel abode in their tents and journeyed not. But when it was taken up, they journeyed. And at the commandment of the Lord, they rested in the tents. And at the commandment of the Lord, they journeyed. They kept the charge of the Lord at the commandment of the Lord by the hand of Moses. So here in Numbers, they're actually not doing any journeying. It's just pointing out the cloud. When the cloud moves, you move. All right? When the cloud stays, they stay. And so that's what we're pointing out. The cloud could be, you know, God could say, we're going to be moving, and then rest, and move again the next day, then rest. Or we could say, hey, we're going to be stationary for a whole year, or a month, or 2 years, or 5 years, or 30 years, whatever the case may be. Whatever the cloud does, that was the sign that you got up and moved. And so that was a symbol of God's presence among the people of Israel. So when was the first appearance of the cloud? Does anybody remember that? Huh? Red Sea? Well, rewind a little bit. You're a week too early.
Oh, when they actually left out of Egypt, didn't they follow the?
You're one day
One day
too early there. You were 7 days too late.
They turned around and came
So
back.
at Sukkot, does everyone remember Sukkot? The first place they stopped after they got out of Egypt proper. They were still in Egypt, the Empire of Egypt, but they were outside the the metropolitan area of Egypt. And so we can see that in Exodus chapter 40, verse 34. Then the cloud covered the tent of the congregation. The glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Well, let's go back. That's one verse. Exodus 13, verse 21. And the Lord went up before them by day in a pillar of a cloud, and to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire, to give them light, to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of the cloud, nor the pillar of the fire by night from before the people. And so that's the first appearance of the cloud, the day after Passover, basically. Don't we have comforting signs that God is, as a reminder that God is present among us? Do you see those? Do you see God's promises of God's always with you? And if you just study God's words, all the great men, God is reminding them, I am with you. Be not afraid. Be encouraged. I am with you. I am with you. It's just like repetitive. I am with you. It doesn't matter who it was. Joshua, Paul, Daniel, I am with you. I am with you. I'm with you. And we need the same thing. And just a couple verses here. Matthew chapter 18, verse 20. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them. Is God in the midst of us? Absolutely. He's in the midst of us. How about Matthew chapter 28, verse 19 and 20? Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. Does it stop there? No. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. So God has given you a commission. God has told you to do something. So God said, go out there and do it, and I'll just stay here and rest and watch you. No, he's right there alongside of you. Right there alongside of you. So we just need to be reminded that just like the cloud, God is with us as well. And then we need to be sensitive enough when God's moving, we're moving. When God's staying, we're staying. When God says, don't open your mouth, keep your, make sure your mouth is closed. When God says, open your mouth, make sure you open your mouth. And so that's where wisdom comes. All right, so our time is up. And we'll start off with Numbers chapter 10 in 2 weeks. Any questions, comments? We just did 9. This is handout 8. Yes, chapter 9, handout 8. Let's close in prayer. Dear Father, Lord, we thank you for today, Lord. We thank you for your blessings. We thank you for being among us, Lord, and Lord, guiding us. Lord, may we seek you in all things. Lord, may we ask for wisdom from you, Lord. Lord, may you give us the wisdom we need when we need it, Lord, as we know you will, Lord. Lord, may you fill Pastor Ron with the Holy Spirit in the next hour. Lord, just may you bless your people in a mighty way. And Lord, just may you bless this week ahead, Lord. In Jesus' name. Amen.